And again, I just want the council to say it. Are we building a new library or not? I just want it said, and I want it done tonight. Are we doing it or not? Then we have to look at the rest of our options.
I'm not in favor of a new one.
To honor the request of the mayor, I will make a motion that we send the USDA grant monies back.
That's not what I'm talking about here, Vern, at all.
It is.
Not even a little bit.
It is.
No.
That's my motion, that
I
we
won't.
deny the request, send that money back to them, and that when we choose an option, that we learn to fund it within our abilities.
That's not on the agenda.
That's
Not on the agenda.
Do I have a second for it? Do I have a second for it or not? Do I have a second for it or not?
Second for what now?
My motion.
Motion denied for lack of a second. That's not,
Explain to Roger,
that's not even, Vern
Mr. Mayor, explain to Roger what my motion was.
wants to, basically, what you're motioning to do is tell the USDA we aren't gonna use that money.
I'll send that back.
Exactly.
But any possibility for using that loan or a portion thereof. Yeah.
And that's not what we're talking about here. I am sorry. What I asked,
Pretty much.
what the mayor asked was,
Okay.
are we building the new building or not?
I'll make a motion that we do not entertain plans for a new building.
Thank you.
And that as part of that, we send that money back to the USDA, allow them to use that for another project someplace else, that so that maybe FEMA could pay us the money they owe us. They can do creative accounting the same way that any other government organization can.
Question, would they,
I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Bunky, second by Roger Colvinson, to not build a new building and to turn down the USDA funds. That's not what I'm asking.
How?
But I will entertain this right now, Mr. Bunky. All I want is a simple answer right now to the building, and that's it. We could have very easily talked about these two different topics. You don't want to do that,
Call
that's
the
fine.
question.
You have anything to ask?
How would you propose that we deal with the Muni building? Anything to do with this building? Like I said before, we are finally at the point where we can have some things on the table to discuss. And look at all our options and have all our eggs in the basket, whether it's $500,000 from that USDA or $300,000 from that USDA. Nobody says we have to spend $2.4 million. Well, I would agree with you, and I will say, I don't see a new library getting built. I think what we came up with tonight is some viable options. We need to finally have a project that we don't have to do to feel decent for this community to finally get together and move forward. There's been how many failed projects? Let's do something right.
And I agree. I agree with your sentiments, and I think we can. I think we can do something positive with this building and with the Muni.
But with no resource to do it with.
No, I think we've got some resources. We just need to be much more creative and much more innovative in how we do it. What I'm suggesting is that I don't think it necessarily takes $250,000 to make this usable for a city hall.
we could use it right now. But
Exactly.
we still, what do you do with the other building?
If we need to expend some funds, the library board has still expressed 2 years ago that they were gonna raise the funds to get that done. If their fundraising effort has to change direction a little bit, I don't see that as being a showstopper. I see that as being at least pragmatic. In keeping with Steve's point about school taxes. There's gonna be a $1.7 to $3 million library built inside of that new school. Maybe the school, maybe the city needs to figure out a way that we start to work together to provide options, workable situations, and that end up saving the city money, end up being a true community project.
Right, you're talking about sharing the library with the school again? Is that what I just got?
I'm talking about the community funding a new school library that the community will own, that the community should conceivably be allowed to use.
I think I'm not gonna go over that point again because I think we went down that road several times. The two do not coexist. A public library and a school library do not coexist.
I would agree.
They are two different purposes.
And if others have tried, you got to learn from other mistakes. Others have tried it, it's failed miserably. People that are doing it don't like it. Wish they weren't. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I'm smarter than them. They just haven't figured it out. I'm not going to do that. And as far as I will say for the record, I'm going to vote against this motion because I'm not going to give up the possibility to use USDA funding. The motion is to not build a new building and give up the USDA funding. I am calling the question. Whoever is in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Whoever is opposed to the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion fails 3-2 with Mr. Holland, Mr. Hansi, and Mr. Dahl opposed. Now, do we think that this building is going to happen or not?
No, I would make a motion that we do not build a new library.
I will second.
Motion by Mr. Dahl, second by Mr. Bunky, to not build a new library. Is there going to be any discussion on this?
I think when this motion is done, I would hope that we have some clear direction on where we're going and what the options are on the table.
That's the point. Get the options out there, let the library board know exactly what's going on, everybody gets on the same page. And we get the community moving forward and not give up any more resources that we need to complete projects. All in favor of not building a new library, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? And the motion passes.